Susan Frink Anderson here at the Journey In. Welcome back. Continuing the series that I've been doing on awakening love. Remember, the Journey In is a metaphor for going inside yourself, unlocking some of those secrets hidden in your unconscious that are causing you some issues, probably with behavior or even with some anxiety and depression. So I'm here to help you clear a lot of those out and find your true self, awakening the love in you that you would be able to connect with others better and have healthier relationships with self, God, and others. So in my book, Murture, that's what that's all about. It's how to be awakened to your true self. And in the first half of the book, I go over who you are really, your true self, and that you are made by the creator of the universe out of love, in that image. And then I walk through different case examples that I have worked with through the studies and work that I do every day as a psychotherapist. And also then I talk about taking a history, taking an inventory. I talked about that in my last video, to go back, reclaim your past. So all of the how-to stuff is right in here, and how to journal. Then the second half of my book is much more about this love factor, once you do find a lot of your true reality, and how to integrate and how to be able to go through into that transformational process and see yourself in new ways. Like this is chapter 6, my image of self through my beliefs. And so all the while your beliefs are really getting updated so that you live in the present and you stay present with the true self that you really are and who you are now, not living out of past reactions or reenactments of who somebody else said you are. And as you go on through my book, it is continuing awakening to awareness of your whole self and that integration process. Now that happens through the spiritual journey. And the rest of my book, and sort of what I would be talking about today, is that process of awakening. What happens when you mature into your true nature from unconditional love, love of self that is flowing in from the real self that you are and from the divine essence that's already in you, that's awakening. So your nature is being changed, transformed. So these human wounds that you have are getting healed. Notice the word healed. Healed of anxiety, healed of fear. Imagine living your life fear-free, not having to hide behind those old masks, not having to pretend that everything is just fine when it's not. Being real, but incorporating joy for the process that you're finding so that your treatment becomes a top-down. That just means you have a new mind that's coming up out of a connection with self, true self. And of course, God, who is in everything, and the power of that love from God that's unconditional. It's not focused on your behavior, how you're behaving, how you're acting, you will want to treat others better because you feel better. So this consistent healing continues, bottom up. Top down. That's what we call it in psychology, but really it is much more because of my background, that I have mind, body, and spirit information. I was a teacher, so I worked a lot with children and special needs children. I worked with educational psychology in the school systems. I've been a counselor on staff at churches. So I really understand a lot of the different ways that we try to help people. Until I went for trauma training, which I did at a rehab center because I was working with a lot of people who had addictions and they were really suffering. They were conditionally loved and they were needing to add on things to medicate their pain. So whether it was drugs or alcohol or sex or any kind of behaviors, eating disorders, whatever. At this treatment center, I met a woman who had a model that helped unlock inner trauma. Trauma just means whatever happened to you that hurt you. So once I did that, that opened my eyes, and I could see that it didn't matter that I had been a pastor, that I had been a teacher, that I had been a counselor. This therapy that treated the trauma to push that out so that I could live out of my true self. Here I'd been trained by so many other things, had so many other jobs, but I didn't really understand how trauma impacts the human systems. So when you begin the spiritual process and you're walking in the spiritual journey, that's what that means. You get your true spirit and the higher power spirit that was God's intent for you all along, so that you can work internal healing, and it goes out. So the journey in then becomes out of you. So you're living life inside out instead of life coming at you. So I will be continuing to show you different ways all along of how to mature, how to get this nature that is new, integrated from the power of spirit and enlightenment. So come on back again when I'll be showing more, and I'll be talking about more of this Murture process. But thanks for today, stopping by. Bye-bye now.